just a very short study on short video on twin and adoption studies. So remember, the point of these studies is to figure out what is nature and what is nurture. So your nature, things like your biology, and your nurture, your environment. So some things are obviously inherited. And we can look at ear shape, whether it's connected to the side of your face. We can look at hairline, the ability to roll your tongue or not. These are all genetic traits. However, other things like intelligence, personality, is a lot more open to debate about whether it's nature or nurture. Is it learned or is it inherited? This is why we do twin studies. So remember, there are two types of twins. MZ twins, who are identical. They are 100% genetically identical. This is one egg that has been fertilized and then splits in two. And we have DZ twins, who are non-identical. DZ twins are no more alike genetically than any other brother or sister pair. In fact, they can be mixed. One can be male, one can be female, and so on. There are two separate eggs and two separate sperms, creating two totally genetically different children. Demonstrated there by this diagram. So we use twin studies to look at the influence of genes or the environment on behaviour. MZ twins, again, share 100% of their genetics. DZ twins only share 50%. This means that comparing MZ against DZ, we can figure out whether something is due to nature or nurture. So we do this by looking at the concordance. Concordance literally means how similar or how in agreement they are. And the results of twin studies are always reported in concordance rates. So let's say we get 100 sets of twins, 50 sets of MZ, 50 sets of DZ. One of each set definitely has schizophrenia. Sorry, actually, I'm not 50 of each. Let's just say we've got 100 DZ twins. One of each set definitely has schizophrenia. What we would do is we would measure the other twin to see if they have schizophrenia. If 48 out of the 100 of the other twins, that second twin, also had schizophrenia, we give it a concordance rate of 0.48. Literally 48 out of 100. This tells us how genetic it is. What we would do is then do the same sort of thing with DZ twins and compare the concordance rates. If the concordance rate of MZ twins is higher than DZ twins, we would say that genes or genetics, nature has an influence. If MZ twins have a higher concordance, we say that's due to genetics. If the concordance rate is the same, we say that nurture is what causes it. Since both MZ and DZ twins have the same concordance rate, we would say it's nurture is an equally contributing factor. If the concordance rate was 100% for MZ twins, it's definitely genetic. The concordance rate of rolling your tongue for MZ twins is 100%, because that is 100% purely genetic. So we use twin studies to see if characteristics are nature or nurture. We gather as many sets of MZ twins or DZ twins as we can, and we compare them on a specific trait, like schizophrenia. If MZ twins have it more in common, if they have a higher concordance, we say it's due to genetics. If MZ and DZ twins have the same concordance, that sentence is wrong. If MZ and DZ twins have the same concordance, we say it's due to nurture. Weaknesses of twin studies are twins are very rare in the population. It is very hard to find twins, particularly if we're looking for ones that have schizophrenia and things like that. So there's questions about generalizability. In the older studies we do on genetics and twin studies, it's also difficult to tell if twins are identical or not. The Olsen twins are non-identical twins. They are a pair of DZ twins, but they are often mistaken for MZ twins. This is a problem that lots of researchers used to have. There's also the issue with epigenetic factors. These rats are genetically identical. They are twins. However, one has been fed a different diet, and what it's done is had an effect on the genetics in their body, or how the characteristics are shown. So your environment can affect your genetics. Big strength is it lets us figure out nature or nurture. And a weakness of twin studies is that MZ twins are more likely to be treated the same than DZ twins. So DZ twins can be very different, and that affects how they're treated. Remember, we assume going into this that all twins will share the same environment, which is how we can offset the whole nature-nurture thing. But MZ twins are more likely to be treated alike than DZ twins, especially when we've got twins who may be different genders. McGovern is a study that you can use as an example of this, but generally we'll use Gottman and Shields. Gottman and Shields is a big study that looked at schizophrenia in MZ and DZ twins. And obviously you can copy down these notes by pausing the video. We can also look at twins raised apart. Similar sort of process, except we find twins who've been separated at birth or at an early age, and we study their concordance. Similar sort of strengths, it's even rarer, but it does give us this kind of unique look because they activate or work as a perfect control of each other. And we can also do adoption studies. Adoption studies are where we look at children who've been adopted and we compare them to their biological mothers or their biological families and their adoptive mothers or adoptive families. And we look at the concordance rate to see which one they're more alike. Again, if they're more like the biological parents, it's due to nature. If they're more like their adopted parents, it's due to nurture. And that's a summary of adoption studies, with some of the strengths and weaknesses that go along with them. You can pause this, have a read of these, and thanks very much for watching about twin and adoption studies.